Money drives influence, and influence drives theological drift. And we're seeing this in this week, right now, in which the German bishops and clergy are flaunting Catholic moral teaching, theology, even Pope Francis himself. Germany's powerful Catholic progressives are openly defying a recent Holy See pronouncement that priests cannot bless same-sex unions by offering such blessings at services in about 100 different churches all over the country this week. As you're listening to this, I want you to try to think consistently, think logically. If we do bless same-sex unions, as these German clerics are calling for, in reality, we should be doing full weddings to be consistent. I'm convinced that homosexual orientation is not bad, nor is homosexual love a sin. I want to celebrate the love of homosexuals with these blessings because the love of homosexuals is something good, end quote. Now, I think the answer here would be, well, then why not give them holy matrimony? I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying, if these are two people in a sexual relationship who are binding themselves for life, in other words, they are trying to do what the sacrament of holy matrimony communicates, it's not consistent that you would withhold the sacrament of holy matrimony for them. And the reason the church has never provided matrimony for those of same-sex orientation or even blessed it is because, as the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith recently stated, God cannot bless sin. And that has infuriated liberals like James Martin over here in America, but almost the entire hierarchy in Germany. Now, where is this coming from, and why do German clergy think they can do this without repercussion? How much money does the German Catholic Church have? Estimates of 20 billion euros. I didn't say million, I said billions with a B. Once you understand the money, and once you understand the theological drift, you realize that these bishops, these priests, feel entitled. They have the money. If you, by the way, don't like this arrangement, let's say you're a German Catholic, you're a traditional German Catholic, I don't want all these liberal, nutty bishops and priests getting my money. I want to donate a different way. And you don't check Catholic. In effect, you don't get sacraments and you don't get a funeral, is the way it's been explained to me. You're basically saying on a public sheet of paper, a government sheet of paper, I am not a Catholic. And these modernists, heretical priests know that they gotcha. Now, let's talk about Pope Francis. Pope Francis, since 2013, has had the policy, who am I to judge? He's been promoting the idea of synodality. We're not going to have a papal monarch issuing decrees down upon the churches of the world. Pope Francis wants to have synods, continual synods. In reality, the constant synods that are happening over and over and over and over with meetings and bishops and statements. This is a never-ending council. It's the synodal way. Francis has been promoting the synodality. He's not going to act like a papal monarch. He's been saying that over and over and over. And now the Germans, with their money in their hand, are saying, we're going to do this anyway. I don't care what Rome says, because we're following the synodal way. We've discerned amongst us as bishops and priests. We've accompanied people in same-sex unions. And we have discerned through synodality over the last 8 years, this is the right thing to do. We're not homophobic. We recognize that love is love, God is love, these people they love, we're going to bless it. And at the end of the day, it's sort of a, what are you going to do about it? I mean, if you run on convictions and you run on dogma and you run on morality and you run on the teachings of Jesus Christ, the decision is clear and instantaneous of what you should do. Ecclesiastical censures and excommunications and discipline is what should happen. But we've seen this sort of, I hate to call it soft because it's in your face, but it's this soft disobedience that's been happening, and it's not corrected from Rome. I was talking to a friend today. I said, if these German bishops started celebrating the traditional Latin Mass and consecrating bishops in the traditional Latin formula and building churches ad orientem and insisting on it, there'd be some discipline coming from Rome. But you can have 100 different locations of Catholic priests doing same-sex blessings in Germany, and so far, there's been no discipline. Now, one great thing that could happen from all of this is that Pope Francis and the leadership in Rome realizes that this novel synodal way is not going to work. Ultimately, part of the genius of Roman Catholicism is that Roman part, that there is someone who has final authority, someone who has the keys, someone who can bind and loose and use those keys. This is what's happened in the history of the church. But will that happen? Again, I'm not a seer, I'm not a prophet, I don't know. I just don't see, with everything that Pope Francis has said in his lack of discipline for 8 years, I don't see him bringing down the hammer on the German church, especially since the German church is so influential and so wealthy. What I suspect will happen is there'll be another soft correction, and then there'll be a call for, wait for it, dialogue. Let's dialogue, and let's schedule in a synod to talk about this in 2 years and move forward. Meanwhile, the dissident, liberal, heretical theologians and your favorite Jesuits are going to be saying, well, yeah, now we can just do this because they did it in Germany. They did 100 of them in Germany, and we got to do at least 100 of them here in America, and that's what's going to happen. I somewhat suspect that those that work in the Vatican who are liberal, who kind of have the mindset of the European Union, they're thinking already, well, homosexuality is the future. It's not going away. Public opinion on it has changed. It's now very popular. It's accepted and enshrined in songs and culture and theater and film and government. This is the future. And since Catholic theology has to be interpreted in light of the current culture and the current mode, we're going to have to just adjust on it. So maybe we should just let these fires burn, and then eventually we can come up with some kind of hermeneutic that allows for all this to be. And the people who are really upset about it, they'll just eventually die off. Ultimately, people know the Catholic Church is not in favor of abortion. She's not in favor of contraception. She's not in favor of same-sex unions. And ultimately, I think people deep down know the Catholic Church is not in favor of ecumenical mania. The Catholic Church has always, for 2,000 years, said she is the one true church and the one true religion. And she has a very clear and explicit set of dogmas and morality that you're supposed to follow. More than any other religion on earth, we have very clear teachings on our dogmas and on our morality. People generally know what the Catholic Church expects. They know that before the 1960s, Catholics had big families. They know that Catholics are always against abortion. They know that we don't accept same-sex unions, that the Bible itself says that homosexual acts are sinful. People know this. That's why they're leaving the church as the culture becomes more and more secular.